Hi, I'm Dr. Todd Pesek. I'm a holistic physician and ethnobotanist.
I'm Ron Remnick, anthropologist.
Namaste, I am Murali Nair. I am a social worker by profession.
We're here answering some frequently asked questions of students and community members from Cleveland State University, Cleveland, Ohio, USA.
What is integrative medicine?
Really what it is it's a paradigmatic shift in the way we give healthcare in the developed world. And it's largely supplanted by traditional practices and more holistic constructs in health and wellness. The traditional conventional medical system focuses pretty heavily on disease care, the care of the sick. Well, integrative medicine focuses a lot more on healing and prevention and a more sustainable solution to long-term health and wellness. It's more of a marriage between evidence-based traditional practices in health and wellness and some of the merits of modern conventional medicine.
Integrative really means pulling as much together as you can, all the resources you can, in order to focus on a particular problem. And that goes for traditional resources, as well as scientific medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, and even social and psychological well-being, which affects our physical health.
No, I think when we say integrative in lots of societies, they are looking at not only the person, we are looking at the society at large, the community where we live, and the family we belong to, and it's a system approach, the systematic approach to health and wellness. That is what is integrative medicine in lots of cultures.
One of our main scholarship projects here at the Center for Healing Across Cultures is one on healing across cultures, learning from traditions, where we work internationally in 7 different countries, learning from longest living elders and traditional healers that provide community health and wellness for people the world over. And this learning from traditions project has really demonstrated that traditional practices and traditional healing systems supplant the health of the individual more holistically. In other words, they look at the health of the mind, the body, and the spirit in the context of healthful environmental surroundings. Environmental surroundings are both social and natural worlds.
Yeah, let me give you a case on that. A friend of mine was diagnosed with a catastrophic illness. She wasn't believed to live more than a year. And she was just degenerating very rapidly, and there was nothing modern medicine can do. And being a very astute and conscious person, she went to the Southwest and lived with Hopi people, and Hopi shamans treated her, and she fully recovered from this catastrophic illness. How they did it was not only to intuit the nature of her disease through ritual and intuition and consultation with spirits, but they also asked her detailed questions about her whole life, her family, her former marriage, her work. And what they found out was that she really hated her job, even though it was a very prestigious job. And after her healing, she became an artist in ceremonial art and has this beautiful gallery.
If I were the other persons had the so-called scientists. In our modern society, we were taught to believe, even at a very, very young age, even when we are in grade school, not to believe anything which is not proven scientifically. How do we prove scientifically? The case study you are talking about, they may say, the scientists may say it is an unexplained phenomenon, and you cannot make inference based on one particular incident. What do you think, Todd?
See, this is a really great segue here,
They
you guys.
could call it coincidence.
Yeah.
It's true, and all too often they do, and it's unfortunate. Right now in Western medicine, the gold standard for scientific rigor is the randomized double-blind clinical trial, then added to in fashion with other double-blind randomized clinical trials in kind of a compilation study called a meta-analysis. Well, The disadvantages, while these are good tools, there are many disadvantages as well. And recently, there's a great publication in the New England Journal of Medicine that talks about how carefully controlled observational studies don't overestimate the efficacy of treatment modalities.
Yes.
See, this, I believe, is the wave of the future in terms of scientific rigor in integrative approaches, because with the randomized double-blind clinical trials, one must limit so many variables that the system really becomes kind of unrealistic. It nullifies the doctor-patient relationship, and it removes patient-centered care. So it becomes the antithesis of what integrative medicine promotes and moves toward, approaching things on a synthesis of the whole. So we need to search for new scientific paradigms in uncovering truth about a multifaceted transdisciplinary healing phenomenon. The next question was, how do indigenous technologies stack up to science? Traditional peoples live in close connection with the natural world, and so much so that their shared learning with the natural world is one of the scientific method. They observe something in nature, they wonder about this observation, they maybe test it, and they assess the outcomes. That is, in effect, the scientific method. For example, the traditional healer walks through the woods and sees a tree with red sap. He thinks to himself, oh, I wonder if this red sap will tonify or build the blood. That's the hypothesis. They test it then on patient populations, and if it works, they keep it, and if they don't, they discard it. Thus, over millennia of shared learning with the natural world, a diverse indigenous technology pharmacopoeia evolves from the forest in their local environment, and it is the scientific method just driven by a cultural process.
Experience of trial and error. And if they take plants and ingest a plant that makes them sick or kills them, they know that that plant isn't healthy for you.
Yeah. The oral tradition, even in modern society, play a major role in healing process. Only thing is, when we start commercializing this oral tradition, and there are business and industries who want to make profit and exploit the layperson's feeling, and that is something we need to be very careful and point out to the fact that what the oral tradition talks about is the holistic approach to healing. For example, you take garlic. Garlic for centuries we know it is good for you, but now this company is coming out and making garlic pills, and they even advertise saying that you take these garlic pills, it never smells. The smell in the garlic is what the real the healing aspect of
The
it.
chemical that makes the smell is part of the healing power.
So sometimes, for all of us want to live long life, to look at that, how we can extend our life, and the market reach a point where they try to exploit, the needs of the real people.
Yeah, and that deteriorates the quality of life, not just the longevity.
And for example, you look at the rainwater. You look at any society, and they always say that the rainwater is the best form of water. Now, no one dare to go out, or even go for a walk and breathe the air out there. Now we are afraid to breathe the air. So some of the traditions, we are slowly destroying.
This fear that Dr. Nair is alluding to is in large part responsible for declining life expectancies, stress-based illness. All of these things contribute very significantly to the major causes of morbidity and mortality in the Western world. We have diseases of civilization, diabetes, cancer, coronary artery disease, which leads to heart attacks and stroke and cerebrovascular ischemia, and all of these things. These diseases need not exist. They are side effects of the food that we put into our bodies. People need to eat more healthfully. It's the old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, is couldn't be more true.
Yep.
So how do Eastern and other traditional practices supplement integrative medicine?
Well, we borrow from the success of their traditions.
when you look at the lifestyle, look at the people in Far Eastern countries, the way they respect the nature, the way they respect the elders, and it is a lot of things we can learn, and it doesn't cost us anything, They bow in front of a guest, and instead of our modern way of shaking hand, people, why you give your germs to someone else who is coming near you, just bow them. The energy that radiate between you and your guest, and they said you are unwillingly or willingly transfer that particular energy. You look at the Japanese form of Reiki. I think, Ron,
Yeah,
you are
Reiki.
very much in
I'm,
You want to tell us how that works?
I practice Reiki.
They never touch the person, right?
Well, I touch them, but,
No, I mean,
but you don't have to. I mean, you can do it above the body. But what you're doing is you're an intervention in the energy field. And where there is blockages in the energy field, and again, Reiki is only one way to manipulate the energy fields, acupuncture as well. There are other modalities, Qigong, for instance, very powerful modality. People often are ill because they have blockages in the energy meridians, the vortices of their energy pathways, and that creates pain and illness, often inflammation. And so Reiki is one methodology of smoothing out, freeing up blockages, and through also the process of deep relaxation, you can create transformations in a person's state of health.
The world over, cultural traditions have names for these types of phenomena. Call it prana, call it chi, call it, electromagnetic radiation, call it an aura, call it whatever you want. There's no question that there's much more than meets the eye to our health and wellness. And a lot of the traditional health and wellness practices, as we discussed, are these indigenous technologies that are time-tested and stand up to the rigors of the scientific method, supplant much of what we do in integrative medicine, whole body systems, non-Western and Western variants, traditional modalities, herbalism. 25%, and that's a conservative number, of modern medical drugs come from traditional healing knowledge and plants. The revenues are incredible from these natural-based drugs, right?
Another example would be the practice of yoga, the whole science of yoga. Extremely sophisticated physical or mental discipline that can transform people's lives.
By the way, Ron, yoga came out of animal kingdom. And if you look at, a dog or a cat or any animal, when they get up in the morning, they stretch. If you look at the yoga poses, it's nothing but the poses of different animals and birds, And thousands of years ago, the wise people looked at the animals and said, look, why can't we also follow what they are doing?
Downward-facing dog.
Yeah. By the way, Todd, I notice you are sipping something. What is that thing on that cup?
Oh, this is matcha. It's a ceremonial green tea. It's all tea is Camellia sinensis, and this is a ceremonial type of Camellia sinensis called matcha. Basically, all the tea you drink, not including herbal tea, is Camellia sinensis. The whole spectrum. You got green, white, and black. White and black are cooked green tea, basically, and green tea is very good for you. Matcha green tea in particular is an antioxidant powerhouse. It has approximately 200 times the antioxidant catechins that regular green tea has. And these are the most powerful antioxidants known to man. This particular type is Awaken Matcha. It's Earth Healers Matcha. www.earthhealers.com. And I think the yoga point is a really good example of indigenous technologies and scientific methodologies, very similar to the trial and error and observations in the natural world where people elucidate efficacious herbals. This is another example of watching the animal kingdom, watching nature, that close spiritual connectivity with nature, with the natural world that imbues health and has done for millennia. And hopefully will
will
continue to
continue
do
this
so.
thing. Yeah.
We need more people to get
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
and connect with the natural world.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you.